Well, hello there. I didn't think I'd be back under these circumstances so soon, but here we are again talking about sensitive people. And today I'm feeling particularly sensitive because you people have been bullying community autists, American autism victims. This boy on screen, Bryce Mitchell, CTE autism. He don't he don't think straight. Elon Musk, guy embodies pure autism. And you all are just being cruel to these poor, poor boys. Why can't we just leave them alone? Let them be harmless. They're harmless. They're not they're not starting some sort of Third Reich, Fourth Reich. No, no. But yes, let's just start this out. Glasses are back, by the way. That's pretty cool. Let's just start this out and let's hear what Bryce has to say about Elon.
Here's what I say about him, Helen, Hitler.
My take? He didn't hail Hitler. Even if he did, that is the most pathetic, weak, cowardice way to do a salute. If he wanted to profess his Nazi love, his white supremacy, you think he would do a bit better job than that, something he's been doing for years, and something so many people have done. To keep it on topic with MMA, I guess, Sean Strickland walks across the stage doing that gesture. Nobody cares. There's occasional memes about it, but people just want to be so upset, want to be victimized by Elon Musk and his autistic, I guess, Roman salute is what people are thinking he was doing. Who cares? Who knows? The point is, it's harmless what he did. If somebody starts pointlessly, and I emphasize the word pointlessly, starting a movement to eliminate a race of people, there will be people who stand against that because that's not cool. I just punched the mic. You probably heard it. Congratulations. There would be people who stand against it. Everyone would because it's pointless. But as we'll go on to find out, Bryce thinks in the past when this has happened, it wasn't so pointless. So let's just get this out of the way. I need to stop punching that. Elon did nothing wrong. If you think he did, you need to look at your brain. You need to get your priorities in life straight because he did nothing. He has done nothing yet. And if he has, please enlighten me. Please go ahead. I would love that. But let's get on with the topic of this video.
Helen the Nazis. I really don't think that he was, because I honestly think that Hitler was a good guy based upon my own research, not my public.
So Elon wasn't hailing the Nazis because Hitler was a good guy. So even if he was a good guy. That's what Bryce thinks. Kind of a crazy thing to say. We'll continue.
Education, indoctrination. I really do think before Hitler got on meth, he was a guy I'd go fishing with.
Okay, so our school system has taught us wrong because apparently, according to Bryce, there's secret, large-nosed villagers from Minecraft running the government with their emeralds. That's what's being proposed here by Bryce, and he thinks they have somehow changed the American and Western teaching systems, the NATO teaching systems, to teach. What was that? Go ahead and repeat yourself,
I do
Bryce.
think before Hitler got on meth, he was a guy I'd go fishing with.
He sounds like he was a pretty good chap. I didn't rewind far enough.
Based upon my own research, not my public
His own
education,
research.
indoctrination. I really do think before Hitler got on meth, he was a guy I'd go fishing.
Well, um, okay, I'm just gonna give an overarching take on this before we get into this because I am gonna be joking a lot during this. Bryce, a lot of the things he does go on to say are kind of true, which a lot of people are talking about in the shadows, but the vast majority are on the hate bandwagon. Now, just because some of what he says is kind of true doesn't mean it all is. um, yeah, it obviously wasn't a good thing what happened. Whatever happened, I'm not going to say it. I'm sure you know what I'm talking about. God damn it. I have to walk on so many eggshells with this. It's just too funny. Let's continue. I'll chime in a little bit as he starts making points.
With. He fought for his country. He wanted to purify it by kicking the greedy Jews out.
He wanted to purify it by kicking the greedy Jews out. That's something that Bryce Mitchell has now said. I mean, I can't.
That were destroying his country and turning them all into gays. They were gaying out the kids.
Frog's gay. Alex Jones over here. Frog's gay. They were doing it long before Alex Jones was around. So yeah, he says they are gaying out the kids. And, research of that what you will. There's some stuff that you can find on it. To exactly blame a whole race of people is kind of a bit of a conclusion to jump to for it. They're not a race, are they? They're all white people, but to blame villagers for all the bad. I don't know. You can't blame them all for the actions of the pillagers, man. Oh my god. Okay, we'll just continue.
They were queering out the women. They were queering out the dudes. They were. You know what her first tranny surgery ever was? Happened to be in Germany before Hitler took over.
Well, that's a fair dinkum winky dink right there. I'm not researched on any of this. I'll be honest. I have that American education. I know exactly what they want me to know, whoever they are. And that's what I know. It's the only truth I do know. But I hear there are some things that aren't taught specifically. Maybe not everything's taught incorrectly, but there's some things that aren't taught. And what he's not alluding to, he's directly saying it, could have some grounds, some merits. But again, just because what he's saying is true doesn't mean him justifying what happened was exactly true. And my biggest point to make from this is he wasn't just purifying his country. He rapidly expanded and was getting given lots of land that he didn't necessarily need to have. If he wanted to rid his land of villagers and just play in a solo server, he didn't have to aggressively expand territory and get appeased by everyone. Gifted land, I guess. Again, I don't know a lot about this. I'm not a history buff. I'm just talking. I'm making jokes. This is satire.
All the books that everybody makes fun of Hitler burning. You know what the books was? Queer books.
They were queer books, I guess. Now, I'm sure that's also not true. Maybe a lot of them were. Who knows? I know if the comparisons were to be made to current Western society, I'm not very illiterate, but I don't think there's a lot of queer books, enough so to burn a bunch of books over. So, but maybe they did that in the past. Maybe that was their method of propaganda. Who knows? Because completely separate from this topic, the elites of the world have definitely, in the West, pushed a queer agenda. The queer books. They pushed that onto us. And now, I'm not going to comment further on that, but it's definitely something that's culturally being pushed onto us. So who knows, maybe back then there was tons of best-selling gay Jewish authors that were selling them to the kids.
Hitler burned queer books because Hitler didn't want a bunch of queers destroying his nation. They can't produce children.
But what about
when he got on meth and he turned on Russia? I believe that's when he kind of went full nutty. And I don't think that he was just like the best dude ever. And when I say I go fishing with him,
Okay, so when Hitler got on meth, that's when he really took a bad turn. Again, I don't know any of this, but meth's not good, so I can definitely agree he probably got worse. He definitely wasn't a great dude before that, but you know who is? The elites of the world. None of them are great people. There's very few. It's a very selfish, awful thing, money. It turns people into evil, greedy people. Money is the number one root of evil, and it's the number one root of happiness. Because maybe that is what leads to evil. Seeking happiness eternally, chasing that dragon. And that's what happens to all the rich people. So, you know, Hitler was definitely evil before the meth, but no doubt, give that man some meth, he turned into a demon.
I'm not saying he was the most trustworthy dude or I'd love him or whatever, but at some point in Hitler's life, I don't think he was that bad of a guy. I really don't. And now, was Hitler perfect? No, but he was fighting.
Hitler was not perfect. I'm glad he clarified there. He sounds like irresponsible people trying to like kind of take a little bit of responsibility for their actions. I'm not perfect, okay, but I'm trying. That's the card he's pulling. Whenever someone pulls the I'm not perfect card, you know, that's them giving you a little bit of ground, but deep down they're like, I'm doing the very best I can, even though they're not. But they think they are. That's why they're saying I'm not perfect. They think people think they see themselves as perfect because they do. I don't know. I don't like that phrase. People who use that phrase in heated situations are. What are you trying to insinuate with that? But we'll continue. I'm yapping a little bit.
For his people, okay, and he wanted a pure nation with people. You know what the Jews was doing? They was charging interest. Christian.
I actually haven't heard that part of this before. Oh my God, they were charging interest? What? Oh, no, that's not what he said. No way.
Christians aren't allowed to do.
Wait.
They was charging interest.
Well, that explains it. I always knew there was something off. The villagers asking for what? 4 emeralds for some iron sword with a shitty enchantment on it? Of course they were charging interest. Ruining the economy. God. And you know, it makes a lot of sense. We'll continue.
Christians aren't allowed to do that.
Like there's plenty of Christians charging interest.
And Christians aren't allowed to charge interest, no. Only Jews. Because they have business sense. Who's the co-host, whoever this dude is, chimes in, and he's kind of standing up on that, because that's a little crazy to just assume that no Christian would charge interest ever. That is false. Straight up. False.
I don't. Right, if you need to borrow $1,000, Rolly, I give you $1,000, and you wouldn't give me 1,100 back. You'd give me 1,000 back.
Sure,
but these Jews were controlling his country, bro. They were so cold and starving. They were using their valueless money as insulation. They were stuffing dollars in their jackets to stay warm. They were burning dollars in their wood stove. Hitler comes up and says, "Hey."
Now, the stuff he's saying right now and is going to go on to say. We're getting back into factual territory. He's no longer just saying some obscene, horrid shit. We're getting back into genuine alt history here. Stuff you weren't taught. Because reasons.
I'm kicking the Jews out of here because they're killing us with interest. And then now that he lost the war, he's the bad guy. Now, he ain't perfect. I'm not.
No, he was the bad guy before that, but you know, no, never mind.
I'm not a Nazi. I'm not a Nazi. I don't love Nazis. I don't want Nazis to win the war. I'm just saying they were in a bad spot and Hitler come to power. But
so yeah, he clarified a little bit there, denouncing his love for Nazis. I'm glad he finally had done that. Long overdue. And yeah, he said they were in a bad place, Germany was, before the H-man stepped in. Which is true, objectively. And, yeah, it's really hard to say things when, first of all, I don't have much knowledge on the subject, so I'm purely speculating off of what I do know, and a bunch of humor mixed in with that, but it's just crazy.
It's
Elon is
bad to take out a whole, like, to put a whole race into camps when
right, and
there's
that's
Jewish
what
people
your
that are
public
working.
education will tell you, Rolly, because you believe your public education because you have.
So, the public education thing, I believe, personally, again, little knowledge on the subject, the public education, a lot of it's factual, and there's a lot of stuff they leave out. And in doing that, they create narratives based on what they want us to know. And I think that's pretty much how that all works. I don't believe they've actively made stuff up, at least a lot of stuff. There could be some things that are put in there to make things seem a certain way, but overall I think what they do teach is they teach it to give you a narrative, and they teach it in a way that gives you a narrative by leaving out other things and highlighting certain things, I guess would be the way to put it.
Haven't done your own research. When you realize there's no possible way they could have burned and cremated 6 million bodies, you're going to realize that they did not. The Holocaust ain't real. What about the Bolsheviks when the Jews killed them?
Okay, Holocaust ain't real according to him. I have no clue about that one, so no comment. I'm just, ooh, that's crazy. But maybe, who knows? He seemed confident.
Tens of millions of Christians. Oh, we don't want to talk about that.
Well,
The Bolsheviks. Now, that is an example of something that is left out of history for a specific reason to craft a narrative. A victimhood narrative, perhaps? Who knows? Maybe they just ran out of paper in the textbooks.
I don't know much or anything.
Well, let me tell you
that.
about the Bolsheviks. It's when these Jews come over and killed the shit out of all these Christians. And they don't teach that in your public indoctrination centers. Guess what? That's why Tucker's getting schooled on this farm, baby, because I'm going to tell Tucker the truth. And the truth is...
Oh, Tucker, no. Oh, man, Tucker's going to have one hell of an adult life. No, Bryce. Give us Tucker, please. Oh, man. I really just don't know what to say about half of this. I have opinions, and I think it's more funny than anything. I don't think it's super harmful. I don't think he's really spreading too much of an awful narrative. I mean, the Jews are getting a lot of flack right now from people online. That's without a doubt. But, yeah. Other than that he's not really contributing to anything hateful particularly, and every race kind of gets that. So Jews, at least you get the cool secret dark society leader racism.
is that history is his story, okay? And history is written by the victor, okay? Hitler lost, so you didn't get to hear his side of the war. You didn't get to hear how the Jews took his country over. You didn't get to hear what they were doing. And do I believe that he tortured Jews to death and killed them and all this stuff for fun? No, I believe that they...
Okay, he can believe what he wants, but yeah, history is decided by the victor. That is definitely true, especially when you live in the victor state, or country, I guess would be the terminology. But you know, I'm sure everywhere in the world teaches it a little bit differently, some more accurate than others, and obviously not all of them could really accurately reflect what happened in history, but
They were work camps, and that they starved to death because his very army was starving to death. You know why they lost the war? They ran out...
back into factual territory. What he's doing in this whole interview is like weaving in and out of saying actual true things. That, like, if he just said that as it is and framed it a different way, wouldn't really caused the uproar it has. And then he just bounces over into this extreme, kind of stupid, horribly stupid opinion. And he doubles down on it too much. You know, this is why I am saying you guys got to leave this poor autistic man alone. He has some knowledge, and what he's done with it is a little bit crazy. And his son, Tucker, will be passed down that same knowledge, and hopefully his less CTE-riddled brain will be able to see the nuance in between the two stories.
Out of fuel. They didn't have food. They didn't have fuel. They had 10 million plus prisoners. How are you going to feed them? You're not. You're losing a war. They're going to die. And that's what happened. Here's what I...
Okay. So, at the end there, that's all. We're ending on true stuff. They didn't have food to feed their own army. So, obviously, the conditions for their prisoners aren't going to be hot. But ultimately, they rapidly expanded and took territory and took more innocent people than they really should have for an agenda that isn't applying to all of them, but I'm sure there are people among them who had some sort of bad influence on Germany, we'll say. But overall, Bryce was pretty wrong. He said some things that are, like, very interesting, but he said them in a horrible, nasty way, and this caused something I have never seen before, such an immediate reaction from Dana. He didn't even get asked the question before commenting on it. He opened up the press conference with this.
And I'm sure you guys heard what Bryce Mitchell said. If you haven't, he said some probably... I've heard a lot of dumb, ignorant shit in my day, but this one's probably the worst. When you talk about Hitler...
Now, I'm throwing a little personal thing into this. I hate the word ignorant. I don't know if I'd call him a friend, a buddy, who throws ignorant around quite a bit, and that word is tainted for me, so getting off rip with the ignorant. It also reminds me of Michael Jackson. That's ignorant. Don't say that, that's ignorant. You ignorant. That's Michael Jackson. Hope the impression spiked your fancy, I don't know. Words.
He's responsible for the death of 6 million Jews, and he tried to completely...
This part, when I first saw this line, he announces it like it's a gate, like a new attendance record. All right, guys, tonight we got 6 million of them. And I just noticed he also chuckled a little bit there before saying it. I wonder if he had the same thought I did. The only time I ever hear Dana saying numbers in these circumstances is when he's talking about gates and stuff, so I was just... Hitler, he broke the record at the arena. He set a new UFC record in New York. 6 million. Wait for the chuckle.
He's responsible for the death of 6 million Jews.
6 million. Interesting.
And he tried to completely eliminate a race of people.
Again, not a race. More ethnicity, if we want to go there.
World War II was the deadliest war in history.
I feel like I don't know what an ethnicity is now. I probably don't. I ignored what Dana just said. Who cares?
15 million military deaths, 45...
He keeps going. It's not even stuff... The actual substance of what he's saying isn't funny, but it's just the context of Dana sitting in a press conference for Power Slap being like, 6 million Jews, 100 million military.
II was the deadliest war in history. 15 million...
He says it just like it's a gate. This was the deadliest war in history. 6 million...
military deaths, 45 million civilians, and 25 million soldiers were killed in World War II. Second of all, Hitler is one of the most disgusting and evil human beings to ever walk the face of the earth, and anyone that even tries to take an opposing position is a moron. That's the problem with the internet and social media. You provide a platform for a lot of dumb, ignorant people. We've obviously reached out to Bryce, and when we read what he said and let him know how we feel about it, I don't even, we're beyond disgusted. So, for those of you that don't know what's going on, good, you're lucky. For those of you that do, that's what I have to say about it. Who's got the first question?
Hey, Dana.
Hey.
It's obviously not a fun topic to talk about the Bryce stuff. I think that's a great statement that you just gave. Does Bryce Mitchell face a punishment from the UFC?
I agree. That is a great statement. In fact, half of it was him listing numbers. Guys, we broke an all-time war record. 6 million J's gone. When we had 100 million, I keep saying 100 million, 1.5 million military deaths. It's not funny, obviously, but it's Dana sitting up there listing a record on a press conference stage. It's totally morbid, but it sounds like it's his normal business. The way he frames it and says it and everything.
For saying
That's what everybody wants to hear about punishments. Free speech. I don't have to love it. You don't have to love it. You know.
I agree with that.
And goddamn, that's why America's so great. Free speech. Yeah, he just goes on to talk to Oscar Willis, I believe, who's asking him the questions, and he didn't punish Bryce. Free speech. Yeah, that's all there really is. Bryce, not a good boy. He deserves to be called stupid. we didn't even get to the best part of this. I was going to end it here, but
the free speech sentiment. Is there a concern though, right? If he goes out and wins a fight and gets a mic?
Well, that's the beautiful thing about.
Now, Oscar just hinted there. Is there a concern that if he gets the mic, he's going to go out and, like, what he insinuated was he was going to do a salute or give a little howl, Inspan, a little bit of that action. It's just hilarious to me that Oscar would suggest that, like, he's a Nazi all of a sudden just because he said some retarded thing.
This business. For all of you that hate Bryce Mitchell, you get to see him hopefully get his ass whooped on global television.
Again, Ilya Taporia, Josh Emmett. My prediction for this, by the way, UFC are going to, after Jean Silva, after he wins against Bagdasarian, I think he's booked against, he going to fuck Bryce Mitchell up, brother. You believe that? I think they're going to feed him to a nasty man like Gene Silva, and I'm here for it. I'm here to see Bryce get beat down again. It's always entertaining when he does.
I mean, what do you want me to say about it? You know where I am with free speech? We're disgusted by it. I think he's probably one of the dumbest, literally one of the dumbest human beings. Let's not forget that this is a guy who took a drill through his nutsack, then had to...
Oh, this is the best part. And there's so many people who don't know about this. You have to find the story of him telling someone on, I think it was Tim Welsh on the podcast. Oh my God, hold on, I'm going to find the clip. Okay, thanks for holding with me through that cut. I just have to have you guys hear this because I've known about this for a while, but the way he explains it in this interview is just crazy.
I damn near killed myself. I ripped my nutsack in half with the power drill.
Oh,
and that
shit.
Yeah, that's my claim to fame.
What were you
Oh shit, indeed.
working on where you just kind of dabbled into the nutsack accidentally?
I was building a carport over the camper, a carport awning, pole barn, whatever you want to call it. But I call it a carport. I built it over the camper because the roof of the camper, it's made out of that tar shit and it rots. And so I was immediately doing a roof over it so that the camper wasn't leaking no more.
And then you were drilling into the wood and you slipped?
Well,
Oh, he was drilling into the wood, all right, Tim.
I was sitting up there on the ladder on the high side because it slopes down, and I had a board over my head, and so both my hands was on this board, and I knew exactly where I wanted to put it, and so I pressed it up with one hand, and then I was like, I need to grab my drill with the other, and then at that point, I started grabbing a drill. Oh, I was pre-drilling. That's right. So I made the hole where it needed to go. So I had a drill bit on there that's made for just going through wood. It was a titanium plated drill bit, one of them ones that has a spiral on it.
TMI, Bryce. Get to the fucking story already, bro.
And it's about that big around, you know.
Oh god.
And then I've got my bolt in my pocket. I didn't have a holster for the drill. That's basically what I should have done. I should have had a holster. I didn't have the proper equipment, and I put my drill in my pants to grab the bolt out of my pocket. I was going to put the bolt in the hole, and then that's all I had to do, and then I could let go of the board. But as soon as I grabbed the bolt, I had my drill in my pants, and the thing went off on me.
Did it roll it up?
Oh.
It rolled it up, brother.
Oh.
And did you
Rolled it up.
just scream?
You know what he's saying? How it happened?
Well,
It rolled it up.
yeah.
Oh god damn it!
It happened so fast, and it hurt so bad that I actually couldn't produce a scream.
Oh.
So hopefully the pube slowed it down a bit?
Tim's crazy for that. I'm not a big fan of Tim Welch and Sean O'Malley. I never really watched their show. I just saw this clip. He's fucking crazy for that.
No, it just ripped right through him, brother. That was at the wall.
Did you have surgery?
Ouch. It was a fucking DeWalt.
Well, I had 13 stitches, and actually what happened is, you know, it didn't just take off full power like, you know, it just gave the slightest of a,
Oh, it
you know,
eased
and
into it.
It eased into it, but that was enough to rip that nut so fucking hard, dude. I thought I was dead.
The
I
nut
thought
or
I
the
was
skin?
fucking dead. The left nut.
Oh god.
The left nut. The right was not getting hit, but the left nut, it hurt so fucking bad, dude. I can't even tell you. Just thinking of it, dude, it hurt so bad. I was paralyzed. I could not fucking move. I could not breathe.
I couldn't imagine that.
And then who found you and who brought you to the doctor?
Well, what I did is just pause because whatever motion that I was making is what made the drill go off.
Oh.
And then I dropped the board, and the board
I think he's gonna say he reversed the drill and made it unwind.
falls on the ground. So now I've got my hands back, and then I pulled my pants down, and I seen that my nut was wrapped up, and I thought it was gonna fall out.
You saw the
Then
nut?
I saw my nut, yeah, and then a bunch of semen was coming out too.
Really?
It wasn't really semen. It wasn't really semen. It was just pre-semen
He's saying too much. Oh, it's just pre-semen.
and stuff. It was like this clear. It wasn't like white. It was very clear and plasma looking, like some jelly.
The pre-com
Listen.
looking.
This pre-cum looking, yeah. It
Yep.
was full. It was all coming out of my nuts, and it was and the left nut was dangling there, and
Shit.
and I remember the only thing I could think is this thing is wound up so tight that there's no way in hell I can get this out of here unless if I reverse the drill.
Yeah, you have to.
And so I reversed the drill, and I held my hand up under it when I reversed it, just in case the nut dropped. I didn't want to let it hit the ground.
Okay, that's enough of that. If you want to see the full clip, go to Tim Welch's podcast full thing. But that's so insane that Dana just straight up roasts him by bringing that up.
Human beings. Let's not forget that this is a guy who took a drill through his.
Hold on, did Dana just do what I thought he did? Lego man hands? But wait, if we change the degrees of that arm a little bit, we might have us an Elon Musk situation here.
Human beings. Let's not forget.
I knew Dana was friends with Elon and Trump, but I didn't know it went this far, Dana. Who are you to comment on this situation now, huh? What am I seeing there? Okay, just joking about the Elon situation a little bit more. Obviously, it's not as directly comparable as Elon. I think he's just a dumb autistic man who did a dumb thing and didn't even realize it. Because, hell, I could do some shit like that and I wouldn't even realize it was directly Nazi. I don't know. Because I feel like everyone assumes, at least everyone who doesn't care like me, just assumes that it's just the straight up arm held in that direction. That's the salute. Not doing some dumb shit like that. it's just weird to me that people freaked out so much on Elon. Kind of shows the mental instability we got going on in the West right now. People need to chill.
That this is a guy who took a drill through his nutsack, then had to reverse it and put the drill back out.
He just insults him for it. Fair play. Honestly, that's the thing to get Bryce on right there. It's fucking hilarious.
That's the level of stupid that we're talking about here. And I could probably go on for 10 minutes talking about how dumb Bryce Mitchell is. But guess what?
We would all love to hear it, but I believe that is where it peaks, and I believe this has gotten a little long. So you kind of got my overall opinion. Elon, anyone who thinks he's a Nazi, you're stupid. If he is, who cares? He's evil anyway. They all are. The corporate elites, they're fucking blood-sucking succubus people. The money is the only thing that decides anything. As obvious as it should be, money controls everything. And money leads to evil. Don't compromise your values for money, people. Now, Bryce. He's a big old dum-dum. The things he said, like I said, he was flipping back and forth between correct alt history that's not reported on in the West, and then he was supplementing it with some obscene, just stupid, like Dana says, utterly stupid comments, which I think are ridiculous. I think I have the perfect opinion about this, because I don't care either way. I think it's funny, and I think it's a little harmful, but at the same time, who cares, man? That's what it kind of comes down to. There's nothing harmful being done. So if you want to attribute any harm from this, you gotta really ask yourself why you want to be heard over this. Are you Jewish? Did the things he said really offend you? If someone was to say, I don't know, mention some historic moment where white people were mistreated to me, if they were to use that as an insult against me, I wouldn't care. Maybe that's me being evil, I don't know, but I don't care. Those people aren't me, they aren't alive right now, I have nothing to do with it. For all I know, it's fiction. I am so far separated from that. I have my own things going on, and so do you all. So please, if you're even watching this far, comment nice things, be nice. There's probably a bunch of mad people, because this is the second very controversial video I've made in a row, and I might have just picked a fight with people more angry than the Muslims. Either way, I love all. Namaste.